Colé is one of the most important Black beauty case studies of the last few years because it shows something painful. A brand can be loved, awarded, and visible and still not have a scalable system underneath. That's exactly why this case matters for Black beauty founders who want to grow beyond their core community without losing the trust that built the brand in the first place. Colé proves that strong product market fit is not enough if the capital structure is wrong. It had community love, retail validation, investor backing, and cultural relevance, yet still became a story about scaling faster than the business model could comfortably support. What people saw was a beautiful, culturally resonant brand with strong products, strong press, and strong demand. What they didn't see was the economic pressure behind retail growth, the cost of scaling into broader markets, and how much of the brand's future still depended on external capital and a fragile growth model. Colé was founded by Diarra Mbaye in 2021 as a clean beauty brand for melanin-rich skin. The brand was deeply personal, inspired by the beauty culture of Harlem and Senegal, and built to enhance rather than mask natural features. That emotional clarity made the brand powerful from the start because people understood exactly what it stood for. It also became a symbol of what inclusive beauty could look like at its best. Colé wasn't just selling makeup, it was selling reputation, visibility, and care. And if you want to scale your beauty brand without losing its soul, start with my launch and go-to-market free audit. On the surface, Colé looked like the kind of brand every founder dreams of. Awards, Sephora presence, celebrity love, and a clear mission around melanin-rich skin. It also had the kind of founder story that creates instant trust, right? Diarra had credibility, lived experience, and a very specific point of view. That's very, very important because this is where many founders get confused. Founder market fit can create a powerful start, but it doesn't automatically create a durable operating system. A lot of people look at the outside and think this brand is doing everything right, when the more important question is whether the system can actually survive growth pressure. Colé looked like the future of clean beauty, right? It had a minimalist aesthetic, thoughtful formulas and products that became cult favorites, especially in lip and complexion. The brand reached Sephora, secured L'Oreal-backed investment, and expanded across a large retail footprint, which made it feel like a breakout success story. That visibility mattered because it proved there was real demand for premium products made specially for melanin-rich skin. And the audience wasn't niche in a limited way, it was underserved in a very profitable way. Now, the deeper issue wasn't a lack of love. The deeper issue was the cost of trying to scale in a market where bigger players had deeper pockets, stronger shelf power, and more room to outspend a brand like Colé. And that is the key lesson. When a brand tries to grow beyond the core base, it needs more than community affection. It needs a decision system, a distribution strategy, a proof architecture, and a way to expand without forcing the founder to carry every contradiction alone. Colé shows that even strong products and strong identity can still collide with the economics of scale. And for Black beauty founders, that means the question isn't only, do people love my brand, but also, can this brand survive the next level of growth? So the deeper story is that the brand's growth came with structural pressure, and Colé faced the cost of retail shelf space, inventory scaling, marketing demands, and capital expectations that are hard for small brands to absorb even when demand is real. The brand reportedly had a major retail visibility, but visibility doesn't automatically mean sustainable economics, right? And this is where the case becomes especially useful for founders. Colé shows that the market can love a brand while the business underneath becomes too fragile to keep going. That is not a product problem, it is a system problem. Colé is a warning against mistaking momentum for durability. A strong brand can win press, win retail, and win affection, but still struggle if inventory, margins, and capital timing aren't aligned. And that is especially true in beauty, where cash gets trapped in product and retail growth often requires more support than founders expect. It also shows how important it is to think about the cost of being right. Sometimes a brand proves the market exists, but the market proof arrives with a bill attached. If the business can't carry that bill, growth becomes a burden instead of a blessing. Now, if your brand is still depending on you for every major decision, every launch choice, and every shift in messaging, you don't have a marketing issue. What you have is what we call a founder dependency issue. And if your message works beautifully with your core community but becomes fuzzy, too niche, or too emotionally coded for colder audiences, then it's not about your content, it's translation architecture. And that means four things, okay? The first is what stays sacred and should not change. What can be translated for new audiences? What proof each audience needs to believe? And what rules protect the brand from dilution as it scales? Colé is a reminder that community love is powerful, but it's not a substitute for a transferable growth system. And if you want to grow beyond your core community, you need a brand that can make decisions without everything living in the founder's head, okay? And that is why your work matters. Not because brands need more advice, but because they need a structure that lets them scale without losing trust, control, or identity, right? And the real lesson is that purpose can open the door, but finance decides whether you stay in the room. Colé had the storytelling, the customer love, and the cultural relevance, but it still couldn't outrun the structural pressure of modern beauty scaling. And that's why it's such a powerful case study. It teaches you as a founder to build for sustainability, not just admiration. Brand equity is real, but so is inventory risk. If you are trying to grow beyond your core community, the first thing to build is the system that makes expansion safer. And if your brand is growing, make sure the growth is supported by a model that can survive retail, demand swings, and capital gaps. Otherwise, the brand may look successful long before the business is actually stable.